Hey, what's up guys, Good Chipsy, and I'm back here today with week 4 of the ITL. And this week we're going to be facing off against Golden Centurion, aka Carson, my boy. In what is going to be a divisional game. Carson is one of our opponents in our division, and my man Carson has drafted like a powerful team. I always say that about my opponents, at least in the ITL, but he's got Koko plus Sheer Force Lando, with Koko being one of his Z move users, which in my opinion is a really strong call. Like Sheer Force Lando, whilst it might not be as necessarily as good overall as like something like Lando T, Sheer Force Lando is a monster for a ton of drafts, and having that paired with Z Koko, like the breaking power of that duo, is just insane. The rest of his team is kind of unorthodox. He's got Mega Obama Snow plus Alolan Sand Slash, which is pretty interesting ice core. Very powerful certainly, but I think I've got pretty solid answers to his Hail offense. But apart from that, like he's got a pretty solid squad. But yeah, the main threats on his team are certainly the Koko and the Lando. He's brought the Hitmonlee here and the Buzzwole, so he's got double fighting types, so he's really not wanting to be too weak to my Tita. And his Hitmonlee at matchup looks like it could be possibly Electric Seed on Burden, is what I'm thinking, with potentially like a breaking Buzzwole, or more than likely a defensive Buzzwole to act as a check to my Tita in the early game. But yeah, basically looking at his team, he doesn't really have too much for a Meginna set. He didn't bring Snorlax, which was one of the sort of roadblocks to Meginna, which I kind of was expecting this game, honestly. He also had stuff like Chandelure, which can check certain variants of Meginna pretty well, if it's like a bulkier set, because Shandy's got pretty solid defenses. Yeah, he's brought a pretty threatening team, and potentially stuff like Abomasnow that could catch me off guard if I aren't prepped for that accordingly. So we're going to run down a quick rundown of the team that I've got here. I do have a very fat Tita, Rocks, Pursuit Trapping, being able to remove the Gothitelle to free up mons on my team, like the Keldeo. And then we have a pretty interesting beginner. I am Magnet Rise, Calm Mind, with Aura Sphere, and I believe I'm Fluor Cannon on this set. It allows me to beat a ton of mons on his team. For instance, after a Magnet Rise, I wall Landorus Eye, which is pretty insane. Abomasnow can't touch me after a Magnet Rise. Obviously stuff like Snorlax. So it's a really solid set. It's actually a well, I'm not really going to discuss that, but it has a niche that only this variant of Meginna could fulfill to get past certain checks. So then we have an Eviolite. Pilot's one pretty much here as the mandatory Lando Eye and Koko check. Obviously Shard coming in clutch for the Lando and being able to effortlessly take anything from Koko. Stuff like Z, Grass Knot doesn't OHKO me at all after like multiple rock switch-ins. Very solid mon on the team. Obviously like hard checked by stuff like Buzzwole, but I do have sort of responses for Buzzwole in the back. Then we have Keldeo, really solid here. Like his team is very Keldeo weak. I think Keldeo matched up really nicely versus his team. He really sort of struggles to take that thing on, so kind of dual stab, really looking nice here. And then we have a defensive Gligar, which helps me versus his fighting types, like his Hitmonlee and his Buzzwole, and also is a nice Earth Power immunity if I do need to pivot in on Lando Eye. And then lastly we have my Tornadus, which is Assault Vest this week, and is one of my best responses to his Landorus Eye. So that is going to be the team. We're going to jump into the match and see how it goes. So for this game, Kingdom Hearts 3 just dropped, which is a game that I've been waiting for like 10 years, no lie, like really long time. And Carson also happens to be a massive Kingdom Hearts 3 fan, so in the spirit of Kingdom Hearts 3 being released, we did nickname our mons after characters from the game, so you're going to notice those nicknames here. So we lead off with Ventus, as he does lead off with Yen Sid. Now this turn I am not going to stay in. I play Carson all the time in mocks. He's probably the person who mocks me the most out of anyone. And like sometimes I'll play super aggressively versus him in mocks, and so staying in here turn 1 is never the play, because my man could easily bust out the Z Wild Charge or the Z T-Bolt and just bop my Torn here. He's fully aware that I don't always play super conservatively as people believe I do. So I go into my Swine here on his T-Bolt, and I think this turn I am just going to set up rocks as he goes out to Gothitelle to attempt to trap my Swine, which is a really nice play. Swine obviously checking his Landorus and his Koko, so if he can remove this, like if he can trick and then like rest up and Psychic and all this shenanigans, he's going to be in a really solid spot with those two offensive threats. But I am going to reveal the Roar here, and I am going to roar out the Goth, and he's going to be sent out into his bomber, which is really nice for me because now this thing has taken the necessary chip to be in range of stuff like Sacred Sword from Keldeo, Air Slash from my Taunt T. And the only kind of downside to this is I am locked into Roar, and I don't want to lose my Pilot 1 here because Woodhammer is more than likely going to come out. He's either going to click Woodhammer or he's going to click Earthquake, predicting my beginner. He could click Blizzard, which would be pretty wild play, predicting my Taunt, which covers both the Grass Knot and the Blizzard. So it was a really interesting turn here. Going Taunt would have been really nice on both of the former options, but had he clicked Blizzard, I would have taken a huge amount of damage, even with my Assault Vest. And I want to keep Taunt healthy for my Lando Eye. So I am going to go out into my bulky beginner on his more than likely Woodhammer here, as he does fire off the Woodhammer. That does about 22%, so not too bad, but considering I am defensive beginner, that's still a decent chunk. So yeah, a Bomber's pretty powerful. But right here I am going to go for the Magnet Rise, knowing I will outspeed the Bomber if he wants to stay in and click Earthquake, as he does actually just go out to his Gothitelle here. So I'm gonna set a Calm Mind up this turn, as he does reveal Trick again and tricks me the Evilite. He gets lefties in return, which is a nice trade for him. But the fact that he's Trick and he's going to reveal Shadow Ball here means that my beginner can actually set up on this Gothitelle. Unfortunately, he does get the special defense drop here, which is going to mean beginner ultimately ends up in range of something like Koko after this exchange, which is a little bit unfortunate. It otherwise would have been out of range of Koko and would have forced him to probably go out into his Hitmonlee the following turn, which would have given me information on that. But because I am now in range of something like Z T-Bolt, I am going to switch out into my Pillar Swine here, as he does just fire for T-Bolt now. And now I'm going to go out to Taunt. The reason I go out to Taunt on Koko is because I know he's either going to hard into something like his Lando or his Bomber or his Buzzwall, or he's going to U-turn. He's never clicking T-Bolt twice. Obviously Koko is a massive win condition for him in this game. He's either going hard or he's going to reveal U-turn, and that is what he wants to do here. He goes to the U-turn, and this is going to put me in a favorable position because Taunt has an amazing matchup versus any of the four that he wanted to bring in. And if he wanted to pivot back into Koko, I get an Air Slash off or some sort of coverage move off. Adds damage on Koko, and I have pivots in the back for that thing. So Taunt was overall my play there. Bit of a gamble in the off chance that he stayed into T-Bot, but I didn't really think he'd make that play at all. So he does go into his Lando here. So I'm just going to fire for the Hidden Power Ice, but he actually reveals to be Scarfed Rocks, and this, by the way, is a fire nickname for Lando. For any Kingdom Hearts players, you understand the reference, but he reveals Hidden Power Ice, and he reveals to be Scarfed Stealth Rock as I bop him here with the Hidden Power Ice, and that puts him very low. So any more chip and he's going to be in range of Stealth Rocks, which is really amazing because Lando is one of the biggest threats to my team. And with Lando down, if I can remove Lando from the game, the rest of my team is looking in a really solid spot. Like Tita immensely has the pressure taken off him. Can be used exclusively to check a Bomber Snow and Koko. So right here I'm going to U-turn. It covers him making any sort of switch. Obviously I get momentum off that, and if he stays into sack Lando, I actually get a sub with my Keldeo because he will be in range the following turn after taking the U-turn damage of Rocks. So he's now in Rocks range, as I am going to go into my Keld, and instead of taking out the Lando here, I am just going to sub up. But he's going to go out into his Bomber Snow here, and Keldeo is behind a sub. He cannot break my sub with the Ice Shard, the only way he'd be able to get any damage off on me, but he does choose to sack his Lando, so now a Bomber Snow has taken another 25, Lando's down, and he's forced to go into his Buzzwall here. So Terra comes in, big body Terra, and Drain Punch is going to be able to break my sub, but Surf is a pretty solid 2-KO, and Buzzwall is obviously going to be his T-Tar check, and that thing is down. So T-Tar now looking like a problem, because if, regardless of whether it's Electric Seed or something like Scarf or Banded Hitmonlee, he can't really break past my Gligar, and Gligar always 2-KOs with Earthquake, even with the defense bonus of Electric Seed. So we're looking pretty good. So now he's going to go into his Koko, as he's going to set up the terrain, and this turn I'm going to go out to my Mage, as I believe he does just no, he Gleams here. He Gleams, and unfortunately Mage is going to have to go down here, but Mage really put in the work, scaring out the Bomber Snow, handling the Goth, and yeah, didn't do as much work as I hoped, but it didn't really need to this game. Still put in some amount of work. So now he's going to now I'm going to switch in my my Pilot Swine here as he turns out. I think I Earthquake here. Yeah, I'm going to Earthquake here, as his Abomasnow lives on 2. And instead of staying in here with Abomasnow and instead of staying in with Pylo and knocking this Abomasnow out with Earthquake, and him potentially going into his Electric Seed, like bulk up possibly or sub Hitmonlee, I am going to make the switch out into my Keldeo, as it does just fire off the Ice Shard. This gives me a more favourable double down if I do get taken out here by the Ice Shard into Hail. I remove the Obama. Basically, Keldeo was never revenging Koko because it's outsped, and Hitmonlee is more than likely going to outspeed it if it is Electric Seed or Scarfed. So Keldeo was more expendable there than my Piloswine was, because Piloswine's Ice Shard might still come in clutch in this late game. So I'm going to go into my Tyranitar here, set the Hail, get the chip off on this Hitmonlee. That's all I really need for Earthquake into Ice Shard to knock it out. Even if he is somehow like Natural Gift and he knocks out he gets like +3 and knocks out my Gligar, because that's the only way Natural Gift knocks out Gligar, if he's a +3. I still have like Earthquake chip off on that, Sand chip and Ice Shard in the back. So I'm going to go into my T-Tar, as now I'm going to go hard out into my Taunt. It covers him going for the bulk up play, covers him going for the high jump kick, and any sort of sub play he can go for. But he's actually going to go for the high jump kick, and this reveals to be banded damage. So this is banded Hitmonlee, which essentially means that Gligar is going to wrap this game up. So right here I'm going to Air Slash. If you wanted to go Koko, I just got damage off on that, and I have Pylo in the back. But we go for Air Slash here, and we do get the flinch on his Hitmonlee, which is going to cost Carson a point in differential, as this time I am going to U-turn out and go out to my Megatar. Megatar just kind of going to show off its bulk here, Mega Evolve, and take this Koko out with the Earthquake. I think this is a max special attack Koko, I believe, and Gleam only does 36, so yeah, Megatar is a very thick mon. This thing, like, it's just ridiculous how bulky this thing is, insane. So that's going to be my week 4 versus Carson. It was a fun game. I think Carson and I will definitely play again during the season, whether it's a second time in our division or come playoff time. So I think next game it'll sort of be a lot more on the line. This game was sort of just having a bit of a fun one. Nothing too serious about this match, but that's going to be it for week 4. Hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like if you did, and let me know what you guys thought of the match in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys next time.